Hello, this is Steve Gagosian speaking. I'm the Design and Construction Manager for the Facilities Management Department, and I will also be the owner's project manager on both the library renovation and the library roof replacement project. We'll go over the renovation first, and we're going to look at the project background, some of the major elements of design, project schedule, and the budgetary cost. Back in April of 17, Johnson Roberts was hired to conduct a feasibility study, and that was based on the need that was determined by a lot of research done by the library with patrons in ways of surveying and ongoing working groups in order to determine what patrons were looking for, how the library usage has changed. Additionally, a lot of examples from across the country were looked at to see what new libraries were doing, some of the new services, and the spaces that were required to accommodate those services. Design funding was approved in 2019 at annual town meeting, and we've been designing ever since, right up to bidding, which just recently occurred. So the first floor, there's three major areas. The welcome area, which is currently where the circulation desk is now, is going to be reconfigured to create new book browsing and increase patron space by reducing the size of that desk. I'm going to create a new commons room from the old media room for flexible gathering and kind of a bring your own coffee space. And there'll also be two new meeting rooms introduced into that space as well. And then there's been a redesign of the children's room to support excellence in learning through interactives, art, reading activity, and optimizing the space for their experience. There's also a bit of a rework of other spaces within there, the crafts and the story time space as well, to better accommodate what the library is trying to accomplish. This is a small scale floor plan, which I'll briefly go over. There are larger scale plans to follow, but the commons area, which is the upper orange quadrant, shows that reconfiguration. And then there's the the commons reading room to the bottom of the page in orange, and then the children's library showing new interactives and shelving configuration is the yellow part to the left. Looking at the large scale detail, the welcome area shows the circulation desk down at the bottom as an L-shaped configuration now, with the elimination of that big large desk and counter that's there now. To the right, you see the self-check kiosks, and then a casual disbursement of book displays to create more of a bookstore browsing feel to it. This is a SketchUp of that area showing the changes in the concept and the approach to the space. In the Cafe Reading Commons, which is the old media room, there again, it's an arrangement to create flexibility and provide for casual group gathering. The angled wall also will serve as a backdrop for any presentations like poetry readings and things of that sort for future use. And to the left, the two green spaces, you see the new meeting study areas being introduced. This is a SketchUp showing that angled wall with a feature wood treatment to provide a backdrop for any speaker that might be focused at that end of the room. The children's library, there's quite a bit going on. There's new interactives being introduced. There's a new undulating circulation desk and arrangement of shelving and spaces for children to the bottom right of that space. And then you also notice that the stacks have been rotated to be on a axial orientation of east to west now, as opposed to on the diagonal, which currently exists. And below you'll see the story room being combined with the crafts area. A lot of those activities are now interactive and go hand in hand. This is a sketch-up of the new circulation desk. The fish tank is to the left, which has been relocated, and the undulating wall of shelving and nooks and crannies and spaces for children to engage with. One of the reoccurring themes with the library is nature, so a butterfly motif was chosen that will be suspended from the ceiling, kind of adding a feature and a bit of excitement to the children's space. Interactives, there are several, but two of the premier ones are the Light Bright, which is a smaller panel that children can engage with and create designs and shapes. The Loomis wall to the right is a larger installation which will react to children's movements and or touch, again, for them to create scenes or bring up pre-programmed scenes. The second floor, there was a need expressed for meeting rooms, so we've concentrated new meeting rooms on the second floor. There's been a redesign of the north-south reading areas and computer stations to accommodate soft seating, tables, and chairs overlooking Town Hall. And finally, with the reduction in the stacks because of a lower count of materials, we've been able to expand that nice east reading area that overlooks Simons Park with more tables and seating. This is a small scale plan of the second floor. To the north in the light green are the new study rooms. To the left in the darker green is the expanded reading area overlooking Simons Park, and to the bottom darker green is the expanded reading and seating area that overlooks Town Hall. This is a sketch-up of the meeting rooms on the second floor. The concept was to make these as light as possible to retain the daylight from the windows, south-facing windows, and the view as well. Illustration, this is actually quite a very transparent installation with minimal impact to the rest of the library interior. Sustainability considerations. With a project like this, the first thing you want to concentrate on is, don't do what you don't have to do and create unnecessary demolition and construction. The library also took a hard look at reusing existing furniture where practical and are actually relocating some of the replaced pieces down to the Hills branch. As with all projects, we use FSC certified wood products, low VOC adhesives and paints, and we install LED lighting. The project schedule, we're hopeful with a favorable vote that we'd be able to issue a notice to proceed in November. This will allow the contractor to procure materials, get all his submissions in, his approvals, and get the fabrication done for the elements that will be introduced and incorporated in the construction, thereby supporting the tight timeline schedule. If they have enough time to get everything together and have it all there when they're ready to start, there's no reason why that schedule cannot be achieved. Library move out is the last week in April. On-site contractor will be from May to August. The library move in the last week in August, and the project closeout will take a month or so to, take care of small punch list items and mostly paperwork submissions for record. The costs, we had favorable bids, slightly below our estimate, and so that's the bid number. The architects and engineers, that's for the construction administration services, and actually FF&E procurement and installation as well. Packing and moving, quite a bit of that library has to be moved. Some of it's going off-site, some of it's going into the garage in order to provide for work clearances. Clerk of the Works is our eyes and ears full-time on the project. FF&E support is included in that number, as well as the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, all the new furniture, and the interactives that I described earlier as well. FMD support, that's our staff with assisting with move in, move out, and other small items during the construction period. Other expenses is a combination of miscellaneous expenses, PBC expenses, printing costs, legal costs, web portal for the project costs, fire prevention review costs, and so on. Hard and soft contingencies are 15% of the construction bid and the architects and engineers cost. And the PBC and the library trustees have approved authorizing alternate lighting that was in the bid. One alternate is to change some of the general light fixtures in the children's area. The thought being there was so much work being done in there that this would complete the project and be more consistent with the new design motif of the room. The other lighting alternative was primarily on the second floor over the newly reconfigured north-south reading and study and soft seating spaces. This was, again, to help increase lighting levels to a more appropriate levels required for the rearranged activities below these lights. These lights are scheduled to be changed out in cash capital anyway, so we're just doing it sooner rather than later. Total project request is $2,863,408. I wanted to make you aware that this project is actually replacing some scheduled cash capital work that's been for future years out in a 3 to 5 year window, and those items would include LED lighting, painting, flooring in numerous areas, and this would all yield an approximate reduction in future cash capital expenses of $305,000. And with that, we'll be happy to answer your questions at town meeting. Thank you.